Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Icon Edit, the show where we are becoming unbelievably gorgeous and disgustingly overeducated. My name is Monet. I'm a fellow icon in training and host of the show. I do all the research, share it with you guys, and you share anything and everything you know on the subject back with me. So with that being said, be sure to invite all our fellow icons in training so we all can become hotter and more educated together. Book of the week. I love the book, again, on my Greek gods kick. Circe. I'm forgetting the author's name now, but I'm going to put it up on the screen here. It was another just fun, over-the-top, divine book, beautiful reading. I listened to it. The audio was amazing. I don't know, like I said, it's so fun to tap into that divine, feminine aspect. Read Circe, guys. It's so fun, and I'm re-listening to The Song of Achilles, and we all know about that one. That one is so good. I think that was a TikTok famous one. It got me back into reading way long ago, so highly recommend. That being said, let's get into our topic for today. So another book I'm reading / listening to right now, I'm doing both with this one, is Goddess by, I'm going to voice it in here because I, again, don't remember the author. I'm so bad about remembering authors. It's Anthony Summers or something like that. But anyway, we'll get into that more when I actually cover Marilyn. I've noticed a thing with these feminine icons. The more iconic they are, the less information there is on them. Or at least like consistent information. Like I noticed when I was doing research for Cleopatra, there was a lot of, she did this, and then another source would be like, everyone says she did this, but this was wrong. So there's just a lot of information to get at, and I think Marilyn is fascinating. I think from both like a historical icon and just like history in general, that era and women's role in society, I think Marilyn is very pinnacle in all of that. And so I just need to make sure to give her episode justice. You know what I mean? So I'm doing all the research, but it has inspired me with today's episode. This is kind of like an icon study of Marilyn, just like separated, because she fully rebranded herself. It changes your whole life. Think like Sabrina Carpenter. I didn't even know who Sabrina Carpenter was. Like, I didn't watch Disney Channel and all that, so I did not know who she was till like a couple of years ago. And that's just because she rebranded. And Marilyn did that same thing. In this book, she actually wrote a letter goodbye, Norma Jean. She just said goodbye to her old self and welcomed in Marilyn Monroe. For anyone who doesn't know, Marilyn Monroe was just a Hollywood made her up. She made Marilyn up. Marilyn was not a real person, but she kind of fell into that brand identity. And she was actually buried as Marilyn Monroe, which is crazy, right? Because that was Norma Jean that was buried, but it was Marilyn Monroe that died. Crazy. Anyway, so I think just the power of branding, like personal branding, even not within your business, but within like just you and your life and what you want to be known as, because we know a brand is what somebody says about you when you're not in the room. So I think that goes with the business, and it goes with just your personal self and being very intentional about how you brand yourself. And the first step of branding is to figure out your feminine archetype. I think this is more just fun and kind of gives you direction and kind of gives you like a divine like inspiration to kind of direct your glow up. And it's really just fun. Like it's fun to figure out how you're mostly seen / how you should be seen. And it's just kind of to inspire your whole rebranding era. Because first, before you rebrand, you need to figure out what your brand's going to look like. You need to fully commit, because that's how people are going to see you. For example, Sabrina Carpenter, I see that crazy blonde, not crazy, but you know what I mean, super blonde, super curly, beautiful, what have you. I think, oh, Sabrina Carpenter with her beautiful and pastels and dark lips. It was very strategic and very intentional. With Marilyn Monroe, it just goes a step farther. She was so intentional with how she looked, how she was presented, her identity to the public, like being the sweetheart of Hollywood, essentially. She was very crafty with all of that. So let's get into how to find your feminine archetype. There's a lot of different ways you can take this information, and it's so fun. Just being intentional with your style and all that. I've been talking too much, so let's get into it. So a feminine archetype is a psychological pattern. Weight energy expresses itself through personality, desire, behavior, and identity. This idea comes from depth psychology, especially the world of Carl Jung, who believes humans carry universal archetypes in your subconscious. Every woman has all of them. All these archetypes are within you, but usually there's one that is more dominant, and one is calling you forward. So here's the reframe. You're not finding your archetype here, you're choosing it. Rebranding yourself isn't becoming fake. It's about becoming intentional. The archetype that you want to align with determines how you dress, how you speak, how you set boundaries, what you tolerate, and how the world responds to you. So I'm going to describe to you the core feminine archetype. So as you're listening to these feminine archetypes, I want you to listen for two things. One, the one that feels like home, the one that you identify with, the one you're like, oh, that's me. And then I also want you to listen for the one that feels like your next level, your rebrand, who you want to become. And if it's how you identify, great, lean into it, be more intentional. But you can either like, what's the word? a brand reset, or rebranding. A brand reset, if you find the one that's you and you're like, this is perfect, I feel like this is right, and I want to build on this, be more intentional with that. If you don't feel like that's right, be more intentional with who you're becoming. Okay, so the first archetype is the maiden. This will be your rebirth rebrand if you decide to go with the maiden. So this is if your ideal self is curious, soft, and becoming. And you're going to rebrand to become the maiden by simplifying your wardrobe, romanticizing routines, saying yes to learning, travel, and newness, and letting yourself be a beginner again, being okay with being bad at something for a second, being okay with understanding that there's so much to learn, and honestly being excited about that. The maiden represents like youthfulness and innocence, excitement, and beauty. Next, the mother. And this is going to be a grounded rebrand. This is one I did not really identify with at all, which is kind of interesting. I've been on mute and I don't know for how long. Okay, I'm back. But anyway, I think I was on the mother. If you want to feel safe, warm, and emotionally rich, this is the archetype for you. So rebrand by creating cozy rituals, being very selective with your energy, leading with empathy, and building a home both physically or emotionally. Building a home physically or emotionally. This archetype is power through presence. And since the mother's the one that I just don't identify with, I actually don't know anything about it. So if you can think of anyone who has like a mother archetype, like a celebrity or something, please share, because I can't even wrap my head around. Next, the queen. This is an authority rebrand. You should rebrand for this if your ideal self is respected, composed, and sovereign. And you're going to rebrand by dressing with structure, speaking less but with certainty. This means pausing every time before you speak, think about what's coming out of your mouth, and make sure it's worth your time, because you're not going to speak any more than you have to with this archetype. They don't deserve more of your words, you know what I mean? They don't deserve more of your time, more of your energy, more of your words. You are the queen. They are lucky to get anything that they can out of you. You're going to raise your standards and act as if decisions are already made. Act with confidence with every decision that you make. You're going to act with a lot of regality and composure. Make dignity one of your new priorities. So the queens don't chase alignment, they demand it. If something doesn't work for you, you cut it right out. You don't waste your time in even explaining yourself. Don't waste your time with drama. Get that out of your life. You are in charge. You're the powerful one. They're lucky to be in your presence. That's the brand of the queen. Next, the lover. This is a magnetism rebrand. If your high self is radiant, sensual, and alive, then the lover is the rebrand for you. You're going to rebrand by prioritizing pleasure without guilt, investing in beauty, scent, and texture, being emotionally present, being very connected with your emotions and expressive, and letting yourself be seen. I want to make it clear that this rebrand is not about attention, but aliveness. You want to be constantly feeling alive, like you're getting the most out of life. I feel like this is how Marilyn rebranded herself. Before she rebranded, there was one guy who came up to her and was like, "You're the saddest girl I've ever seen. Why are you so sad all the time? Doesn't really make anyone happy. It's miserable to be around." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're right." So with this Marilyn, you see her always smiling, laughing, or some like sensual sort of aspect to her. She did thrive off of attention. She always wanted to feel alive. She always wanted to be doing something, meeting someone, and she was very sensual. I feel like the lover was her like instinctual, that was her like natural archetype, but then she just became intentional with it, with her rebrand. You know what I mean? She used it to her advantage and to gain attention that you needed in Hollywood. This is one I would like to include more in my life. I would like to be more of a lover, I would like to spend more time focusing on how I dress. I tend to get too focused on work or my goals or something like that. Like when I got really busy over the holidays, it got to the point where I was not doing makeup. I would shower, but I would never do like the self-care shower. My outfits just kind of went out the window. I would come in with sweats and slippers every day just to like get by. I'm never going to do that again. I want to be more of a lover archetype where I do prioritize the way I look, how I smell, what I'm wearing. So that's my rebrand goal. And in later episodes, I'm going to talk about the steps to actually rebrand, like start with your hair, then your wardrobe, and what have you. Next is the huntress. I actually like this one a lot too. This one is kind of one I identified with. So this is the independence rebrand. If you crave freedom, strength, and self-trust, this is the rebrand for you. Rebrand by moving your body with purpose. They're very active, adventurous, love getting out there and just moving. Setting hard boundaries. That's a big one for the huntress as well. She is very independent. She likes her space. Choosing autonomy over approval. I think we should all roll with that, but that's just something that is embedded in the huntress. She is going to choose her own freedom over what other people think about her. And being okay with standing alone. This archetype never wants to be chosen, she chooses. Next, the sage. This is the intellectual rebrand. If you want depth, clarity, and authority through knowledge, this is your rebrand. You're going to rebrand through reading daily, speaking very thoughtfully, kind of similar to the queen, but more from an intellectual rather than a this isn't worth my time mindset. Valuing truth over trends, just staying true to what you enjoy, what you want to wear, what you want to present yourself as over what the world is prioritizing right now. The sage is comfortable with being misunderstood. She just doesn't care what other people think about her. She is in her own lane, focusing on her own growth and learning as much as she possibly can. Next, the mystic. This is the inner rebrand. If your ideal self is intuitive, symbolic, and spiritually aligned, this is your rebrand. Rebrand by creating silence, studying symbolism, astrology, and psychology, trusting your intuition, and living slowly and intentionally. You're going to want to see what other people are missing. The mystics always tend to have an understanding of life and a self-assurance in their path because they're all seeing something that we don't. They all have an understanding that they don't. They all have a spiritual connection with themselves and the world that is very enviable. So here's what no one tells you. You're not meant to stay one archetype forever. You'll cycle through them. I know I have. With age, seasons, heartbreaks, life events, growth, you're going to change. For example, during my serving days, when I was a server full time, I was more of the maiden. I was just leaning more into my innocence and letting my boyfriend more take care of me, both financially and like in every other way. And I just focused on learning and growing, and I just didn't understand. I don't know. I viewed my energy and my time very differently. And now that I'm in a position where I'm in charge, I'm growing something, I've almost instinctually taken on the more queen archetype and have demanding more respect, prioritizing my time more, and I've kind of taken on a natural like hardness, I guess. Before I was soft, and now I'm a lot more like hard. I don't know how else to say it. You know what I mean? Because now it's just what my brain felt like I naturally needed to take on. And now, like, for example, when I was serving, I was wearing white, lacy, very cute outfits. I would even wear bows sometimes. I would wear pigtails. Like, was a very gentle, soft archetype. Where now, I mean, I'm dressed a little bit more fun today, but usually I'm wearing like slacks, turtlenecks, much more like I still love to feel beautiful and look beautiful, but it's more like office siren and almost a little bit more masculine, more like chunky docks rather than ballet flats. I would like to rebrand myself as the lover, as I said, so I'm just gonna get more in touch with my pleasure. I'm taking time intentionally out of my day to enjoy my day, and I just want to dive more into my sensual side. I want to feel that sexy, sensual side of myself and explore that a little bit. So that's where my rebrand is going to go. I'm going to build a rebrand plan and share it with you guys to kind of inspire you. Okay, so ask yourself, who am I rebranding as this season? Who is going to be your goal for the next couple of months to slowly mold yourself into? What inspires you? Comment your archetype below or the archetype that you're going to become. And that's all for today, guys. Please, if you like this episode, comment, like, subscribe, and share with our fellow icons in training. Go follow my TikTok, and I don't have an Instagram for the channel, but go follow my personal Instagram. It would mean a lot to me, and I just kind of want to get to know you guys more personally, and I share my personal adventures on there. Me and my boyfriend are always doing very fun stuff, and my job is just crazy, so I post all of that stuff on there. Go check it out and comment, and I will follow you back, and we'll just make a beautiful little community. I love you guys. Stay iconic. Bye.